2020, as everyone knows, was a pivotal moment in history.
This cafe opened during the pandemic. Despite a rough start, it's thriving. So what's its secret?
Oh, look at this fungus growing.
During COVID, technology has been essential to remote learning, but one school chooses to use none of it.
As you can see, the majority of blooms look like this.
Did you know this stunning show at the UW is the result of a hasty construction project? These stories and more, next on CityStream. Hello, I'm Dennis Bounds, and welcome to CityStream from Fritz Hedges Waterway Park. Located on the shores of Portage Bay, we are just a short walk from the UW campus. This park is only 3.5 acres, but its scenic views and amenities make it stand out. The pandemic hit many restaurants hard. Many closed, some struggled. So when a Seattle couple decided to open a cafe just north of the city in Shoreline, many wondered why. It hasn't been easy. The couple has faced racism and an arson attempt, but they refuse to give up. So now when you visit Black Coffee Northwest, not only do you get a delicious drink, but also a lesson in Black culture as well. Producer Layla Cosby explains.
My name is Darnisha Weary, and I am one of the owners of Black Coffee.
My name is Erwin Weary, and I'm the CEO of Black Coffee Northwest in Shoreline, Washington. I'm from Yakima, born and raised there. I moved out to Seattle in 1997, and it's just been an amazing journey.
I am a Washingtonian, a Seattleite. I grew up here, born and raised, which I'm really proud of and love.
Even before we opened Black Coffee Northwest, Darnisha and I were heavily involved in community outreach.
I coach a youth step team. We're called the North Side Step Team. We've been around since the year of 2000. We're a traveling competitive group.
We started a nonprofit organization about 20 years ago, and that began our journey of what blossomed into what's happening now. Opening up Black Coffee Northwest in a pandemic was a very risky move. The only thing that we were doing was allowing people to come to the drive-thru.
What can I get going for you?
That alone was enough for us to take the risk. 2020, as everyone knows, was a pivotal moment in history. The pandemic hit, there's all this racial injustice. We needed to be some kind of beacon of light. Even though we're just small in Shoreline, I felt like having some place where people can meet and really talk about tough issues and understanding and things like that. We needed to have some place to do that. The opening was delayed.
There was an attempted arson in our building where someone tried to intentionally burn the building down. The physical structure we can fix. It was the emotional heartbreak that someone tried to burn something down that was so special, and a place that we intentionally wanted to make sure that people felt safe in at a time when a lot of people didn't feel safe. We were just frustrated with people challenging who we wanted to be. Why are you doing that? And why is it called Black Coffee? And so the conversation really is, when I go to a Mexican restaurant or taco truck, I expect to see someone who is Mexican working. When I go to a Chinese restaurant, it is the same.
I appreciate it.
What is the problem with us being a Black-owned business and you walk in, you should expect to see Black staff, Black representation all over the walls. It should feel like a Black-owned business.
We had a great turnout when we finally did open. The community stepped up. People gave support.
We really love it. They have wonderful coffee and good food, and we really want to support a Black-owned business in our neighborhood. They're great business.
When I see the baristas making coffee and connecting with customers, and the customers are happy, the baristas are happy, that means something to me. That absolutely means something.
Thank you.
We're proud to be a first employer for youth. We are also showing representation that you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a business owner.
It's really exciting to see this thing blossom so quickly, and both me and Darnisha appreciate everyone just for being here.
We have a barista training program, and so they'll be 14 years old up until 16 when they're employable.
I'm May. I'm 19 years old. I am the manager, supervisor, and barista shift lead here at Black Coffee Northwest. I've been making coffee for about 7 months. Hasn't seemed like that long, but a lot of people tell me I look like I've been making coffee for years, and I take that as a huge compliment. Create a strand, and then you're gonna turn it all the way.
I'm Natasia, I'm 17, and I'm a co-founder of Black Coffee Northwest. I've been training to be a barista, and it's my first job as a barista. Today is when they get to decide if I can do it by myself.
It's beautiful.
It's actually really fun.
This program for me has definitely shown me a great deal of confidence. Has shown me that I can do anything and I can teach anyone else to do anything. It's a beautiful brown shot. I love it. I'm so proud of you.
The coffee is amazing. So we use Bunbuna coffee from Ethiopia. The owner is actually in Renton, so another local Black-owned business. We sell Zuri's Pastries, a Black-owned shop in Linwood. He makes pastries, donuts, cakes, great stuff.
All of the clothing that we sell here are from local small businesses who've probably never been in a retail space before, who may have never had the opportunity to put their merchandise in a coffee shop.
We really want people to engage and learn more about what's going on in the world and how it affects Black people, how it affects people of color. And so this is that place, like even down to our cups, like we put quotes on our cups. That's just a little education every time you buy your cup of coffee.
Our local businesses have wrapped their arms around us, have helped us, have shown up.
We're gonna keep going. You know, the community wants us here, we wanna be here. It's important that we're here, and so we're gonna stay here.
If you serve the folks who are furthest away from justice, then you serve everyone.
Matcha? Okay, and here's this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
With perseverance and community support, the business is thriving. In fact, they just began selling their own beans, the Black Coffee Northwest Ethiopian Dark Roast. And their barista training program is doing well, too. For updates, check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just ahead, in-person learning is back. But for some kids, school's out, as in outdoors. More on this innovative approach as CityStream continues. Most students are back in the classroom now that in-school learning has resumed. But during the pandemic, technology played a big role in the teaching process, but not at One Seattle Preschool. As Linda Byron explains, it's become a national model for its unplugged approach to early learning.
Good morning. Did you have a nice walk in this morning? Yeah. I'm going to sign you in. What do you want to do this morning?
It's late September, and the smell of cedar greets parents leading their children into Seattle's Arboretum.
I do need to go, Bubba.
Where they'll spend the next 4 hours.
Maddie. I think if we turn the page, are we going to see her, you think?
You won't see any plaid skirts or pressed pants here. The school uniform consists of boots and anything waterproof. Instead of cubbies, kids toss backpacks into plastic bins.
You can say, Finn, can I have some space to draw the face on the tree?
No walls either, only a tarp offering minimal shelter.
So today, our question is going to be, can it float or does it sink? Float or sink! Float or sink!
Welcome to Fiddlehead's Forest School, where everything happens outdoors.
Did they float or did they sink? They float! Hello! Hello!
This is the Magnolia class, named for the trees growing nearby.
How are you?
The group of 14 kids, ages 3 to 5, start their day by exploring between learning stations.
1, 2, 3. There's usually lots of creatures under here.
Like this obstacle course, where slugs and bugs delight.
This is a little baby wormy. Would you like to grab it?
And nature astounds.
Whoa, look at this fungus growing. We're not gonna eat this gum. 'Cause before we eat anything in the forest, we need to talk about what it is and if it is okay for our bodies.
This is a living classroom.
There's some that splattered onto my arm here. If we have a planned lesson, say about plants, and maybe an owl flies into our classroom, and that kind of curtails our entire day. Sometimes we talk about the owl and like what their body looks like, what they eat, what an owl pellet is. A-hiking we will go, a-hiking we will go.
With nature setting the agenda, every day is like a field trip.
A-hiking we will go. The Arboretum, it feels very big, so sometimes we forget that we're still very much in like an urban space. Hi, Crow!
Hi, Crow!
They're listening for things, they're smelling things, they're feeling things, and surely you can experience that in an indoor classroom, but I feel like it's heightened when you're out in the forest.
But you can do most of what kids do in a traditional classroom.
Finn, can you help me draw?
Whether it's drawing or doing a science experiment.
I'm wondering if we can show this snail kindness by leaving it in the same type of environment that we found it.
Lead us, show us. Let's go.
Asher's parents chose outdoor preschool after moving here from New York. And yes, they knew all about the rain.
You know, my parents ask me that all the time too. I think for us, he's gonna experience rain wherever, right? Like it's not something that we can shield him from. It's not something we want to shield him from, frankly.
Do you use special powers to zap them? I just stay here by myself? Okay, bye.
Joe Kim loves watching his son learn to be flexible and resilient.
The idea of preparedness is really important. You know, you can do anything as long as you're prepared.
Should I put it in the basket?
When Sarah Heller co-founded Fiddleheads 8 years ago, she wasn't sure an all-outdoor school would fly in a city where it rains 155 days a year.
We knew about schools in Europe that do this in the snow. They stick their kids on skis, they go sledding, they're out in negative temperatures. So we learned a lot from them.
Sylvie's doing some puddle jumping.
And yes, we did have people telling us that we were a little bit nuts.
Not ready to go.
Looking at 3-year-old Aya, it's hard to believe she once avoided going outside.
I had concerns that she might not be a fit, and it didn't end up having any problem whatsoever. She loves it. She loves being out here. She's never talked about the weather.
Out of the way.
The benefits can be unexpected.
Our son had some balance issues, and within 2 weeks of being here, just from like running around on the uneven ground like all week, his balance like greatly improved.
Slippery.
Hikes offer adventure, but there's more going on than just play.
What do you think that is?
I don't know.
Oh. Look at that.
There's a bigger goal for teachers and parents, that connecting kids with nature early will encourage them to care for the troubled planet they're inheriting.
I do think that these sorts of programs do create stewards for our environment and the planet, and there should be more children in outdoor schools.
Unless wind or lightning make conditions unsafe, school is never canceled. And no, it's never moved indoors.
In comparison to a lot of parts of the world, we have very mild weather.
Even on the Friday before Christmas, the darkest day in Seattle history, and the 5th wettest day on record, the magnolias are outside, soaking it all in.
My car is quite muddy.
These mothers have a special relationship with Mother Nature.
My boots are muddy.
They've learned to efficiently strip away layers and muddy boots before loading up tired explorers and heading home to wash another load of clothes.
I just let my car get dirty. We clean up our seats later.
Another day in the forest, without noise, technology, artificial light. Another day learning in nature's sacred classroom.
Fiddleheads was Seattle's first all-outdoor preschool. If you'd like to find out more about this innovative approach to early learning, check them out online. Just go to botanicgardens.uw.edu. Click on the Education tab, and you'll see Fiddlehead's Forest School. Getting outdoors is something we all crave after a long, cold, gray winter. And since April is Lawn and Garden Month, why not surround yourself with nature? Gardening guru Cisco Morris offers some of his favorite spots on a recent appearance of Seattle Channel's Civic Cocktail.
There's a few really great public gardens. The Bellevue Botanical Garden, it's a fantastic garden with this big perennial border. And they have almost every kind of garden that you'd want to see, between a Japanese garden, a nature garden, a native plant garden, so that's wonderful. And there's a garden that used to be real famous a long time ago called Heronswood Garden. It was a nursery that sold the rarest of the rare plants, and I still have a lot of tags from that nursery with no plant with them. That's the way life is. But that one is really great, and it's open on Fridays and Saturdays in Kingston. I really recommend that. And then our wonderful Arboretum is fantastic. And I'll give one more, because I was the head gardener there for 24 years. Seattle University has a fantastic garden. And if you go there, it's really amazing. It's right in the middle of the city, but it's like an oasis in the middle of the city. It's quiet and kind of intimate, and you have your little protected spots. There's even a garden called the Cisco Morris Biodiversity Garden there. I'm the only person that ever didn't give money or die and has something named after him at universities.
That was a good one.
Up next, this much anticipated show blooms each spring. But do you know how this came about? Find out as CityStream continues. Welcome back to CityStream from Seattle's newest park. This place opened last October and is named after a much-beloved Parks employee, Fritz Hedges. It's a stunning location. Portage Bay behind me, houseboats, a marina nearby, and just to the northeast, the University of Washington. Producer Vincent Pierce has more on this special place.
We are at the brand new, just opened yesterday, Fritz Hedges Park. This is our newest one.
I'd been running this route a bunch, and the fence, I was just like the little kid, looking in the window, couldn't wait till it got open.
I mean, it's not very often we get to develop new waterfront parks, so they come along very, very infrequently, as you can imagine.
We have been waiting for the last 2 years for this park to open up, and peering through and imagining the possibilities, and we're so excited that the fence has come down and there's people and they're here enjoying it, there's children playing, and I think it's going to be just a wonderful amenity for the city.
Opening up our access to the waterways, allowing kayaks to have a place to safely put in is really huge.
So the vision is this really great kind of south-facing waterfront park, which you get the big panoramic view of the open sky, and so it's really passive open space for folks to come and bring their lunch, relax, read a book.
You've got crew boats going by, you've got houseboats across the way, you've got drawbridges going up and down. We saw, what was that thing called? A hydrofoil, I hadn't seen one of those in a long time. It is just quintessential Seattle, all within one park.
Given what everyone's been dealing with this year, to give folks additional opportunities to get outside and just be outside is, super important to us. So it's great to see people using it, and we're happy that people are out here.
It's a lovely park. It's just great. Less than a mile from here, a rite of spring. Nature's putting on a bit of show and tell. A variety of cherry trees are blooming on the campus of the University of Washington. Arborist Sarah Shores gives us a history lesson of how the UW trees came to be and how many more years they'll be putting on a spectacular show.
The height of the season for Yoshinos in this area is typically the third week in March. Last year they were a couple weeks early. This year they're a little bit late, and they're later mostly because of the cold temperatures that we've experienced. The Yoshino, also known as Akibono, and the scientific name is Prunus exyedoensis, and they come from Japan. They should last at least another full week, maybe another 2 weeks. If we get a lot of rain and wind, as they're starting to finish their bloom, the wind will knock them off earlier, but they're hanging on now, and they should be around for at least another week or two. As you can see, the majority of blooms look like this. They're full bloom, but we do have a few more, just like that are getting ready to go. So definitely this weekend, all of the blooms will be popped. Fast forward 30 years, just happened to be right in line of the 520 bridge construction project. So there's bulldozers getting ready to tear the trees down, and at the last minute they awarded the bid to the contractor who was able to dig up the trees and move them here in the spot you see them today. He had no time to prepare these trees. They had to be done right now. So he had a crew digging holes in the quad, he had a crew digging up the trees in the arboretum, they threw them on a flatbed truck, planted them here, and then they all just crossed their fingers and waited until spring. He did a good job. Every single one bloomed the first year. Their lifespan is typical of a person's lifespan, around 100 years. They can live longer. They're doing really well for their age right now. They're in their mid to late 80s. We are developing a plan to continue to bring in new trees here. We still have some time. We're hoping we need to have a good plan in place in the next 10 to 20 years. Hopefully they'll last that long. And whatever happens, we will always have cherry trees in the quad.
For now, the university is asking the public to avoid coming on campus to limit crowds during the pandemic. Instead, you can check out the cherry blossoms in the quad via webcam. To find the live camera, go to washington.edu and search for campus webcams. We'll be right back. And that wraps up this episode of CityStream. If you'd like to watch more great Seattle Channel programming, go to seattle.gov and click on Feature Shows. I'm Dennis Bounds. Thanks for watching.